This is a book, the table of contents. We're not going to cover all in this class, of course, but we already had chapter one and chapter two. Now we jump to chapter four, graphical user interface. Um, and in this graphical user interface, we have a little bit of file accessing, but there's a full chapter of file accessing and application. I wrote these two chapters and a little bit of others already, but we're not going to do all this. We'll probably get back to a little bit of this file management because when it comes to operating systems, file management is very, very important. So together with this accessing operating systems. The next module after this programming, the topic is the network. So we'll look at theoretic aspects of networks, focusing on wired networks, not wireless. And we'll look at a little bit of the concept of networks, and then a little bit of programming using Python. I know some of you hate programming already, but trust me, if you get over that hurdle so that you have some confidence in coding and programming, then your future will be much, much brighter than the other otherwise. So stay in tune. And some of the web pages, this is something that we want to do also together with the network, right? Web pages are always available through the network. Application layer of network can provide you web pages. So HTML, Python is a good language that can handle HTML pages. All human now likes reading HTML pages. We call that web pages, right? But manually. Sometimes if you have tons of web pages to search, then you need someone on behalf of you look for something that you want to find. So here is a Python. Python can do for you, okay? So before we get to a little bit of this, we're not going to learn all of this in this semester for this course. But graphical user interface is one greatest thing. And all others, we're not going to do that in this class. Financial application and healthcare applications, this is for general other communities. Cybersecurity applications, this is another high level. Well, you are already high level, but another course to be used. So graphical user interface, so far, all the programs that you learned, although not much, but all just dialogue based, right? If you want to take some user data, then you always ask, enter temperature, for example. Then user type something on there, right? Graphical user interface is crucial, negligible, inevitable. You have to make your program in GUI interface, unless otherwise no one's interested. So GUI is not really a core portion of your business logic that you want to implement, but that is a superficie. That is outside. That is something up here in front of the user. And also it takes, usually when you build a system, then user interface time and efforts consumed for user interface building is almost 80 or more percent than entire time required. Core engine portion is only 20%. %80 of the work is outside. How make it beautiful and more friendlier to users. Depending upon the program, sometimes you have to click so many times, right? Like a website that Blackboard, for example. Some faculties, to get to something that you look for, and you have to click many times. But my idea is that if you can find something with a little less clicks, then it's better, right? Like a Google website, Google search engines. I still remember when Google search engine came up in early 1990s, late 1990s. Oh, no, late 1980s. First time that I used the Google search engine, I'm sorry. 1990, yeah, late 1990s, early 2000. Google was built mid 1990s, right? And a friend of mine who is working at Google at that time, when there are only a few hundred employees, started. And he gave me the authority so that I used the Google. One time I used Google, I never changed it when I search. Before we had the Google search engine, there's a lot of Google, search engines available. I forgot all the names, but still I still remember one name, Yahoo, right? Yahoo was dominant, and there are a lot others, tens of other search engines available. In order to search, then I have to click 2 or 3 times to get to that search engine text box, and then I enter. Google, there's no advertise in the front page. Open Google, then there's search text box, so immediately enter, right? That type of things is GUI, graphical user interface paradigm. Before we get to this, I'm going to give a demo that I made recently, and that is the exercise of the last exercise. This chapter is not really complete. Of course, GUI portion cannot be complete. Why? First of all, why GUI? Any chapters about GUI is always incomplete. Whoever writes, whenever it is written, always incomplete. Can anyone say? It's not the case in, for example, in Java or C. Of course, not in C. Java a little bit, but almost complete. All the graphic components developers for Java, for example, is usually originally Sun Microsystems, now Oracle. But Oracle doesn't develop much on Java graphic components. So there is a limited developers. Although you can extend a little bit, but no one's care, right? Because it is almost the components developed by the language developer is almost complete. But Python graphic components are not originally developed by Python developer. Python developer It's not really clear either. Everybody joined together to develop one piece, another piece. If you are lucky, then you can find that modules and bring that module into your systems. Then your program will be much more effective only because you find that module. If you do not find the good module, then you need to maybe in big trouble or struggling a lot, or you have to develop something already developed. So graphic components is the same thing. Somebody developed, so many people developed graphic components for Python. The one that one typical graphic components adopted by Python is tkinter. TK was the graphic components foundation, I think several decades ago. Has been used in many good GUI implementations. For example, Unix operating systems GUI developed by that, and most of them are built by MIT Media Lab. So they are there. So tcl/tk is the original components. tcl/tk, so-called tk, tcl portion and tk portion. tcl and tk was originally fed into Java graphical user interface components, and most other graphical components stemmed from tcl/tk. Similarly, Python. So Python has tcl/tk components in it. We call that tkinter. I call it tkinter. tkinter. Inter means interface. So tkinter. So anyway, let me give you demo first, and then we'll walk a little bit. What is the name of menu to pull down for search? Okay. So Python 34, Python menu pull down for search. Okay. Okay, this is the GUI. Top, there's a menu, right? Keyword, search, article, help. So you can see some of the help to be implemented. I didn't implement, right? About note, that's okay. So the idea here is that keywords is written in a file. Article, of course, that is the target articles that you want to search against. And then in the middle, we have a search button. Keyword, there are so many others also, right? So that I can open something from my directory, so that I have already some text files, first saving. So this is a text file that I made. An article similar to that, but I can open it, the same file. They're the same file, but I'm going to remove some of this, right? I could do that. See, this anything here, anything appears in this text will be a keyword. And what I want them to do is to find any matches here in this text. Okay, so I have two panels here, left and right, right? And then in the middle button, I want to, when it comes to matched, I want to make it highlights. When I click this, it quickly highlighted, right? So all over here, this is that, and of course that, and because there is a, so that is matched, is, and we, those are all matches, right? If I delete, for example, some of this, and then redo, then different matches, right? See here, a sample edits, that's gone, and 2, because of that, I have here 2, right? So if I delete others, then another set of matches, right? This is a GUI interface. I'm not sure if I asked you to do this, but this is in the exercise, the last exercise. If you change this article in open, two types open, you want to open local storage, you can open from web page also. If you change this a little bit, then web page can come in here. Okay. Similarly, in the left panel, you can write a list of web addresses. So that open up web addresses, or you can type web address, like here, www.mercy.edu, for example. Then take this to search, to bring the web pages and display it here. That is also possible, right? And then another panel, maybe in the middle here, then you can enter, you can ask user to enter keywords. Then you can search the keywords. If you have a multiple web pages here, then it automatically bring up one page at a time and search. And then some statistics may be written on the right-hand side here. So all such things possible. Python, and Python is a very, very powerful language. A lot easier and more powerful than Java graphical user interface. So we'll learn that step by step. Okay. So the first project is a very, very interesting project. I want you to do that. So you can read some of this. Here's a graphical user interface. I mean, 3 sample runs. The logic is very similar to, you are all familiar with this, temperature conversion from Celsius to Fahrenheit or vice versa, right? Which means you already had this. Convert to C, convert to F, somewhere in your earlier, chapter 2, right? Only something that we changed here is we import tkinter. Again, you have to be very careful. This is case sensitive. If you have capital T for tkinter, then it is okay up to Python 2 point something. If you're running Python 3 version, then tkinter should be in the lowercase. Something that we added here for graphical user interface is this. You have to listen to this very carefully. The first thing that you need to do when you import to TK, then then you have to create entire window, which is constructed by calling TK. Remember that I introduced to you many decades ago. There is a Tickle TK foundations. Tickle also, some of your programs, the program that I used for keyword search, used internally, although there is literally called uh, the Tickle, TCL, Tickle, or TK. TK is literally used here. When you call TK, this T should be uppercase. It's very funny, right? Tkinto itself, all the lowercase, as opposed to Python 2 version 2. At version 3, now only the TK. T is uppercase. And TK construct a window, top level window. That window is called root. Okay? So if we want to make a title, then root.title. Title is a method, function. This title can take a text. So temperature converter itself is a title of that. So GUI 1 temp. Let me run this first so that you may see more clearly. I'm going to run, I'm going to show this here. I'm going to compare this with the program. Okay, here. This is yeah, the sound and it's okay. All right, it's not really clear, but what it says here, the title, temperature converter, that is coded by this. An entire, this window is called root. So I'm going to make the title of root this text. And after that, I made the label, entry, button, 3 kinds of graphic components. We call that graphic components. We have a label. Label is something that you want to write. This is a label here. I have a label, entire label of the first row. If you see this is a grid layout. We have 3 rows. See here, 3 rows. The first row, look at my mouse carefully, and second row and third row. And columns, I have first column here, and then second column, and third column, and fourth column. So actually this is a 3x4, 3x4 grid layout. In that grid layout, look at this, label on where? Label is a class, like in Java. In fact, it is a class. Python is internally object orientation. But I didn't say that to you because if you hear object orientation, then you may hate more, right? But internally, that is the class. Those who had a little bit of Java background, then there is a constructor. Constructor of a class has the same name, but it forms like a function method. So this is a class label. This label is now instantiated like one objects. Objects of label is a label, a kind of a label. So forget about that object orientation. This is a label. I want to say something on this label. Then you need to use this label, like a function. Actually, this is not a function, but this is a class constructor. So label. When this label is instantiated, we need to put some arguments. First arguments for label constructor is where it is going to be in place. Label should be in place F. Back up here. What is F? F is a root. So I want to put that in root. Root is top level window. Instead of F, you can say root also. But I intended to make it shorter. So F is nothing but root. You can simply say root here. Nope, that is exactly the same. And then you text that from here to there. That is a label, right? Only two arguments in this case. First argument is the container. Container that contains this label. Second argument is a text. If it is a label, then you need to say something, right? So whatever text here appears here. Enter a temperature and click a button to convert. Grid, I'm going to explain this later. Okay. Entry. Entry is the text box that you want for user to enter. Okay. That is the entry. So entry is another constructor. First argument is the container, which is a root. And after that, now you want to read, right? Second argument is not necessarily second argument. If it is not in that order, that what you need to do is this pair. Variable and value pair. Variable equal value. Another variable equal value. So by having variable value pair, you don't need to put them in certain order. You can mix it. You can swap this together also with the first and text variable next. Anyway, if we spell out what it means like this, then position is not really important. So the other arguments that defined when the entry is constructed as a text variable. So this is the variable that can hold the text which is entered by user. So user entered text is stored in this variable. So what is the variable name? Temp_in. So temp_in is a variable name. If we want this variable temp_in, then another step is required. Somewhere you should say temp_in is nothing but string variable. Therefore, you can understand, oh, that is the string, that is a variable currently not defined, but later when user comes in, user may be able to enter some. Then we can grab user text. So that capability is assigned to this variable, which is a string var, string variable function, right? That is there. So we defined. whatever user enter here in this sample, if you enter, for example, what is the temperature today, this morning? High. Oh, that's why you wear short. I think I need to change. So you're going to take shower, right? Okay, and another argument here is width. Width equals 7. If we don't do anything here, then it generates whatever the length. If we want to fix the length, then we can say 7. Temperature never exceeds 7 digits at all, right? So 7 is enough. 3 digits. I want to make it a little bigger. That is entry. So we have only one entry. Button. We have 2 buttons, right? But 2 buttons. As you can see, here in this run, sample run, you can see in the code 2 button statements. These 2 buttons. Here, F, first argument is the container, and then text equals, I need to say something. I can say in F to convert an arrow. So in F, whatever you type here, 77, if it is in Fahrenheit, to convert something that it should be written in C. Okay, this is a text. If it is a button, this is a much easier part compared to Java or C, where there is a graphical user interface. Graphical user interface in many formal languages brings a lot of dynamic capabilities where there is event handling. Event occurs in this windows. What is the event? User enter some value here, and then user click this button. They are all event. Then their event, when event occurs, then event needs to be taken care of by the program, right? So there is a listener. So listener listen the event and take the correspondent actions. So to do that in formal language, you have so many steps. Sometimes you have to create adapter if action or event related with external devices. It more frequently occur in your smartphone apps development. Smartphone apps, graphical user interface components is not only locally independently running inside that program. Smartphone needs to talk to outside the device, talk to GPS, for example, talk to the map, talk to the phone, talk to the camera, and all such things, right? So each device, external device, has already developed adapter. That adapter needs to be fully used in your Java program or C program for your smartphone apps development. But here, Python removed all such hassles. This is much faster, much easier. Only what you need is command. What it does is that when button is clicked, so in Python, there's no such a thing. For example, when mouse is lay over this button, or when button is clicked, or when button is released, or when button clicked twice, or 3 times, or 2 fingers, 1 fingers, 3 fingers, or 5 fingers. A lot more fancy events are recognized in Apple apps, right? But Python make it simple, which means not that fancy, many fancy features available. If there is a button, then only one event. Click. Double click. No matter, once you click, I got it. From second clicks, that is your choice. I'm going to first click and do my action. So much simpler, right? If you want to make something fancier graphical user interface like iPhone apps or Android phone apps in Python, then you have to leave Python. You need to learn either Java or C++. Okay? Much more capabilities there. But this is a simple. Remove all that haptics. Simply what we did here is command is an argument. So it sounds like, oh, something happens, button is clicked. It didn't say button is double clicked or right mouse or left mouse. Never such a specification here. Simply, we assume one event is assumed. Whenever there is a button, it should be clicked. Okay? One single event. So we don't have to say anything about the event, but we simply say action. What is the action? I want to execute this. Convert to C. Convert to C is the function here. So when that button is clicked, then this is executed. Very simple, right? Another button, same thing, but different function. First button is to execute convert to C function. The lower button is to execute convert to F function. After that, we have 4 labels. Wow, 4 labels. Label. Look at the 2 labels here, which means there is some space here. 2 labels. Container first, and then text variable again. I want to write something here. The output of this conversion should be written in this label, in this space. When it is written here, then there is some variable holding the output of that calculation, right? That is held here in this variable. Therefore, this temp out C, Celsius, should be defined like this. And then temp out, output temperature in Fahrenheit should be defined there. So only 3 variables. 1 user input variable, 2 other variables as output. And then last 2 labels, just simply write something here, in C or in F. Container first, and then text. Right? And all these graphical components, when it is instantiated, there's a grid, something dot grid, right? So we'll look at that a little bit after this exercise. So here, if today's temperature, the high is 77, so we need to see what is the 77 in Celsius. Anybody from? Oh, what is what you did? Okay, click this. Oh, 25. You're so fast.
We've been using 77 and 25 for
Great. For the same temperature, if we assume it in Celsius, 77 in Celsius. Oh, that's very high, right? 170 in Fahrenheit. Wow. Is it that high? Wow. There's no 77 degree. 77 degrees where the human being habits, huh? Cannot live, right? What about hot spring, hot spa, hot sauna? You know, sauna and spa. 77 is a possible temperature that we can get in. Stay like a few minutes. Oh, is that right? I well, I've never measured, but for some New York Sports Club, there's a sauna, but I do not know the temperature because my cell phone does not have a temperature sensor, so I cannot wear. But temperature sensor is already there in your smartphone, but apps is not developed. But anyway, this is it. So, uh, cell phone cell phone has a, temperature sensors to to maintain the heat itself. So sensor is there, but it is not being used. Exactly. Okay. Now grid. Let me close this. Grid. As I said, grid is a layout formation. As I said, it is a three row in our this is a sample program, 3 rows and 4 columns. So we need to specify that clearly. First label, read all counts from 0. So column 0, row 0, which is upper left corner, and what is lower right corner in this layout? What is the row number? Row number is 2, and column number? I said the lower right corner. That's a hot field. Already 77 degrees. If we have 4 columns, then the the the, uh, the last column is labeled by 3, right? Instead of 4, because it starts from 0. Okay. So look at this. Grid is a function that can be invoked by graphical components. All the graphical components here. Dot grid. So row number 0, column number 0. You can say column 0 also. It doesn't really. Column 0. And then column can be spanned. How many columns will be spanned? 4 columns will be spanned. Let me bring up that here so that you can see it clearly. If we do not have this column spans, what it looks like. Okay, here. If we do not have this column span equal 4, then this all the text should be placed on the first column. What it affects to the rest of this code is this entire will be the first column. Therefore, second column starts from after this. So all this button It's shifted to the after. Doesn't look good, right? So we want to span it because that text overlay entire columns. In order to do that, we have to do this column span. Similarly, there's a row span. This user entry here, entry. I have a row span. I want to span 2 rows, but starting from row number 1. Starting from the second row, I want to span 2. So it appears here. Okay. Now I wanted to practice this code. If you have any another thing here, sticky. Some sticky equals W, sticky equals W comma E, sticky equals southwest, north, south, southwest, north, and east. Oh, wait a minute. It's not east, west, north, and south, or east, west, or west itself. What it does here, that's sticky. You know all the direction, right? North, top, east, left, east, left, right. But I put west. Right. But anyway, so if you stick to the left, then should be east. Something like. If you have a sticky, for example, west and east, you want to place in the horizontal, spread out. North and south, then vertically. East, stick to left. West, stick to right. Something like. But I put west. West works here. West means in this case left, I guess. Entry stick to west, so it stick to west here. This is also west. West means stick to left. Okay, that is sticky. By default, that is the center. Okay, try this. Cool. Another thing that I didn't explain here, when it comes to the execution, each function, then you can see try and except. Try and except. Here try colon and except and something colon. Anybody can imagine what it is? Those who knows object orientation.
I'm just guessing, and assuming that it's going to attempt to run that, and if it doesn't, it's going to go to pass. The reason it's doing that is so that it doesn't get a fatal error.
Exactly, that is it. It is so-called exception handling. So exception is handled in each function here. So what it does is that first to try whatever here, but if there is a missing values for example, temp in is not a number, but for example, somebody said any word, right? Somebody put mercy instead of number. Then mercy cannot be computed for any arithmetic operations. So that is the issue. Temp in is a variable, right? We already said that temp in is not just text variable, but here temp in there's a string var. So this is an object of a string variable. That string variable can invoke a method called get. So this variable can invoke get, which means grep user text and convert it to floating points because when user enter text, that is a text. It is not number. So we want to convert that to floating points as far as it is a numeric, as far as a text convertible to number. 7 is convertible, but MERCY is not convertible to number. So if it is a convertible to number, then we convert that to floating points. Now that number F can be fed into this formula. So get the result, output C. Now C needs to be written into that components here in this label. The label, when we construct the label in this code, for example, when label is constructed, we declared text variable. Text variable is temp out C. Into temp out C is also an object of string variable. Therefore, we can invoke the function set. So there, the output is to be set. Okay, and if there is a error like here, value errors, exception occurs, and the way that we handle that exception is just pass, don't do anything. So for example, if I put here mercy and enter, didn't do anything. I want you to look at this, everyone. If I put here mercy instead of any number and click, didn't do anything. It's robust. How come? When it comes to that exception, I said the pass. Okay, let it go. Okay. If I don't do that exception handling, what happens? There's an error, right? Because it tried to convert it to floating points. How come text can be converted to the floating points? Question?
In this, after accept with pass, would we be able to make a number like on the top?
Yeah, some other thing is you can write some error messages. Yeah, print, and you can say re-enter something, some guidance possible. Without that, then it terminates. So a lot of other programs can be here in that exception block. So not only one statement, can be another big program.
Can you, in one program, can you kind of make it run like two separate GUI windows, or is there always only ability to make one GUI? So it's like in here we've got root.title.
One root, but could have a multiple different components. Root is a container. You can contain anything, menu, pull down menu, or graphical components. So many others. But one top level. You mean two top levels? So one. This is hierarchically organized. One top.
If when you insert mercy, I want to make another window pop up.
Oh, pop-up possible. Yeah, there's a separate ones. You can print error messages within that top, within that container, or you can pop up extra. That pop-up should be disappear by clicking. Right? Like many other pop-up windows. There's a possible also here. Yeah, you're welcome. And also negative number to check. Remember that Eric asked the questions. We checked the negative numbers. Um, Each digits, the built-in function, has some issue, right? As we looked at last time. But we can avoid that in somehow the program written messy. Uh, I tried that. Think about that. Those who wants, I can bring up how it works. Um Another extension here, grid 1 temp 2. Those who programmed it and tested it properly, this is another challenge. The program like this is a little bigger than the rest. If I put here 77 degree, look at this. It's a big font, right? And then this text box covers the entire 2 columns. And when I make this is different color. 77 in F, 77 in C. We have another label, extra label here. In the previous original example, in F with the button. Now in F or in C is outside that button. When I click to convert, then clearly 77 in F is converted to 25 degree in C. Now there's a different color. 25, what is this? Orange? Orange in F, that is in orange. There is blue for Celsius. Convert that to 77 is convert to that in this color. So I want you to think how you can extend the original program into this. There is a hint. So read that hint and look up from the internet. But I'm going to show to you the solution a little later. But I want you to think first. The fonts, yeah, by changing fonts can be increased. Fonts equals, you can pick other fonts. This is one typical. 24 is the size. This is the style, bold. All, yeah. Let's move to another section, 3.2, menus. So far what you've done is to play with graphic components. A few major graphic components, labels, buttons, and entry. Now we will look at another component called the text. Text that you can see all user, some text boxes here. And then menu, pull down menus, right? We have only 2 pull menus up here. And there is a sub menus, new, open, save, save as, and exit. If you click exit, it should go away. Not only the way that that you can click the Windows itself, there is an X button, usually upper right corner. That usually works, but exit can be implemented in your pull-down menu, as I did here. This click exit is the same as that exit. And help, the idea here is that we want to make a notepad. I know you made a notepad. You are working on notepad. This is another notepad. You can increase it more and more if you want to. But this is not really bad notepad. You can see that, right? So about notepad, this is a pop-up, Eric, you asked, right? So that is possible. And view help, not implemented here. Okay, now you can type here. You can type anything on this panel. Here and type it, and then you can save it. Save as, so that we can save. Bring up a Windows Explorer, and this is a current directory 505, and then I can save all text files, and I can save sample1.txt and save it. So when I look at that, that is here, sample1, just created today and 10:30, time is 10:31, just created. You can open this, then that is that, right? I can say you can type anything, right? And then you can type more. You can add more from this external editor called Notepad to see if it is read by my program. And I save this and come back here, my program. I want to open it. Oh, it's not open. It's not implemented. I'm going to give it to you, my real program. Maybe this is something for you to. This is a little more than, a lot more than that. That's okay. So I can type here. I can type here and save it. Mercy. I type it, and then I can save. Save as I did. I can save it as a sample. Where is my sample? Sample 1. I save it and override it. When I come back here, I have sample 1. Right? So now we can add more here to see if it is read by my note. Like this, and I save it. Come back here. Let's open it. And my sample, somewhere here, sample, I can open it. Cool. That's what I want you to do. The code, it goes up to the reading, up to reading, it is given. I mean, up to saving, it is given, but I want you to add how to read. Okay? So let me explain the code, and then you can practice it. Tkinter imported. This is, I can import as TK to simplify it. in the tkinter, this field dialog, you can import that, particularly ask save file, ask open file. Remember that we do here in our editor project. We want to save it. Save it. It's already known, right? And open it. That is used by this module. Okay. So modules already provided by tkinter. We don't do any other modules to download. Root is created. Doesn't matter this tk. We simply run uppercase tk, but still okay with this. It's another trial. In this case, we start with a frame. Top level window contains frame. Can have a multiple frames. So top level root is a container. That container contains a frame. So this is frame. FRAM is an object of that frame class, for example. And I make that frame packed. Fill both. Can we extend it? Yes, we can extend, so that we can extend this. We can squeeze this. See here. If you see this text, this is a longer text. If we extend this, then that is expanded, right? If we reduce the width, then it can be in multiple lines. That's what it means. So expandable. So we have a frame, and within that frame, which is a frame, I can create a text box. This entire window is the root. Root has a frame where there is menus and then also text. Okay? So text is called the editor. Editor again, that is expandable. That's what we looked at right now. And after that, we have a root title. We call that text editor. So the title of this window is text editor that we named here. And then we have a multiple functions, methods, file save, create file, open file, get out. This is for exit in the file menu. File pull down menu, we have exit. That is so-called get out. Here you can see so page setup and print. For print, you have to you need to have adapter modules that can handle the printer. It should bring all the printer information, which means your program cannot handle all such communication with the external devices. What your program can do is to ask operating systems to find out all connected printers and devices. So that is another extra ones, but we are not going to do that here. But anyway, so we have those menus needs to be implemented. Only 4 modules, right? 4 methods. File save is given. This works as is. File open. This is what I want you to implement. This one is not implemented. Okay. And then explain help. That's for example, back to Eric's question. If we want to make pop-up menu, for example. Then you need to make top level another root and make a help windows. And within that help windows, you can give some comments, which means if I do here help, then this is that. This is this is another program, right? But anyway, this is, you can say that it's a written for IASP 505. That's the next line, but first line is a little bit. This runs a different program, but this entire button is this pop-up menu. So entire this one is another separate windows, so that it can be closed. Only when it is closed, then we can come back to continue to work within this original windows. Now, to this root, we can create a menu. Okay, a menu is constructed with the argument. The first argument is the container, as we did some others, right? Right. This is a container. My menu is instantiated, so this is my menu. So entire is my menu. To my menu, this is my menu. I want to add all this. This is all called the file menu. It's a menu. Container is my menu, which has all this file menu. Nothing but this. New, open, save. See here, new, open, save, save as, exit. And in between there is a separator, which means I can have some separator line here and there that can be managed by this command, add underscore separator. So I have a multiple pull down menu, which is called the file menu, that is created, and that file menu is contained in my entire menu. My entire menu, this entire, that is my menu, from file to help. I want you to note here, my menu has cascaded menus, pull down menu. First pull down menu is file menu. Next pull down menu is help menu. We have two of those, right? If we bring up the one that I ask you to do. So two pull down menu, help, file menu and help menu. So file menu, oh, I'm sorry. File menu is added to my menu, and the help menu again added to my menu. In the help menu, we have two, view help and about notepad, like here. View help and about notepad. In between, there is a separator. So we make the separator here. Entire menu, my menu, can be configured within the root top level menu, and then we run that. Okay, this is the program. Now I want you to practice this, okay, today.